And then south of Munich, just aware of the significance of kicking off the tournament against the hosts, Germany, tomorrow. They'll have the backing of an estimated 200 leaders, one or two famous.
I've been waiting on this moment for my entire adult life, but to be here, have your Joe, it's just this unbelievable.
How will the millions of Scotland fans watching be feeling? Is it nerves, excitement,
Terror,
the emotion?
terror, excitement. In some ways, I don't want the anticipation is half the fun of it. Like, you don't want it to start because I don't want it to be over.
Yes, of course, France 1998, the World Cup as well, the last big overseas major tournament that Scotland managed to qualify for. And you can see from here at the moment how the fans are certainly enjoying this party which has begun, and you imagine, don't you, tomorrow before kick-off, that atmosphere is only going to build. That is the shape of things here in Munich at the moment. We can cross over now to join Alex Howell, who's with the England squad. Alex.
That's right, John. I'm stood here outside of the England Media Centre, just a short distance away from where the England side have been training in the German countryside. Important because, yeah, that he was isolating away from the other players. England manager Gareth Southgate, because Stones has been a key player since he has been England manager and played in the last 3 major tournaments, and the squad at the moment is made up of lots of young players. There are a couple of other fitness issues. Luke Shaw is still rehabilitating an injury, as is Bukayo.
ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ, ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਚਾਲ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ। ਸੋ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਲੱਗਾ ਪਾਪਨ ਦਾ ਐਂਡ ਪਾਪਨ ਸੀਰੀਜ਼ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਲੱਗੀ? ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਲ ਸੀ, ਕੁਛ ਅਲੱਗ ਸੀਨ ਸੀ, ਕੁਛ ਅਲੱਗ ਮੈਟਰ ਸੀ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਹੋਈ ਕਹਾਣੀ ਸੀਗੀ। ਤੇ ਵੈਸੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੀਰੀਜ਼ ਕਰਨੀ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹਦੇ ਸੀਜ਼ਨ, ਬਟ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਘੱਟ ਟਾਈਮ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਰਾਧਿਕਾ ਦੀ ਕੰਡੀਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ
And coming up, United finalists, bereaved fans whose loved ones have been killed on the roads, meet for the first time to call for tougher restrictions on newly qualified. All right, we're going to have a full forecast in a minute now, but now it's time for a quick look at the weather.
Hi Ben, thank you. It hasn't felt much like summer this week because of how cool it's been. Today it doesn't feel much like summer because of how wet and windy it is.
I love it.
Across
I
western
love
parts of the UK.
touchdown.
This is how things look behind this band of rain. Some strong winds. We've had a gust of 50. Full details in about 20 minutes.
And Rich, thank you very much indeed. Well, as we've been published the election manifesto with those promises to transform Minister Keir Starmer in the race of it. Well, Ben Shue from the Spy team has been analysing the party's pledges to see if the numbers add up.
On Verify, we've been asking the same question all week. What if the party's manifestos, and do their sums add up?
You can see there
It's Labour's turn. So let's get
every single page
on spending. Labour pledges around £5 billion per year of new day-to-day spending, including on school breakfast clubs in England, more NHS appointments, and more police and community support. Governments in the devolved nations would get some for their priorities. And how is it to be paid for? Well, around £7 billion of tax-raising revenue. Additional taxes on non-domiciled people, VAT on private school fees, but most of the work is done by a £5 billion per year down on tax avoidance. Credible tax avoidance sounds familiar. Lib Dem and Tory manifestos.
but you're not going to give up. That's what you're saying to yourself. You're not going to give up.
Those revenues are uncertain.
You can have some.
The same credibility
And you have some.
hangs over this manifesto as hung over the.
Yeah, you have some. Take a big bite.
Big existing...
You know, once the half of
Same credibility gap for Labour's plans as with the Lib Dem and Tory ones. Let's put in the size of the Labour Party's spending pledges in the context of other manifestos. So here's the Conservatives one from this week. Their £18 billion tax-cutting package amounted to around 0.6% of the size of the economy, or GDP. And here's the Liberal Democrats' tax raising and spending about... But look at this, here's Jeremy Corbyn's 2017 manifesto for Labour, which was equivalent to 2.1% of GDP. And here's Labour's 2019 one, again under Jeremy Corbyn, around 3.2% of GDP. But let's look at Labour's 24 manifesto. That adds up to just 0.2% of GDP. And as you can see, pretty modest by comparison, which leaves a big question. If Labour were to be elected, would that relatively modest package, when it comes to tax and spending plans, prove appropriate or not?
Ben Chu reporting there. Well, we want you to help shape how we cover this general election campaign, so if you've got a question for a politician or an issue that you're concerned about, then do get in touch as part of your votes. You'll find all the details you need on our BBC News website. And still to come on today's programme, the cost of dropping off passengers at the airport is now higher than ever. Most UK airports increased prices by up to 20% compared with last year. Now though, it is time to join our colleagues for the news where you are.
Thank you, Ben. I'm Nicola Beckford and you're watching Midlands Today. Hello, good afternoon. A group of families of young people killed in car accidents say they'll keep on campaigning until restrictions are introduced. They include Bobby Owen, one of 4 teenagers from Shropshire who were killed last November, and a couple from Warwickshire whose son died in a crash nearly 40 years ago. Abby Smitten reports.
I was getting a little bit worked up yesterday, getting a little bit more. People today.
Families. After months of exchanging messages online or video calls, they're finally together, walking in memory of loved ones tragically killed on the roads. Sharon founded the group following the death of her daughter Caitlin. She'd been a passenger in a car that lost control. The families are calling for the driving licence, meaning better controls over what newly qualified drivers can do.
It's not just what we've been through and the victims' siblings have been through. It's the waste of so many young lives.
It's been more than 40 years since Robin and Patsy first started their fight for change, following the death of their son Neil in 1986. They finally feel like change is coming. Actually different. 6 months to the day since her son Harvey was killed in a crash in North. Today, she's supported by the new friends she's made.
It just gives you that bit of hope. In the early days, you literally don't think you can even go on, but we're going nowhere, and we're not going to stop until something's done.
How much is Harvey's driving you on?
100%. Obviously, I don't want to be here today, and I shouldn't have to be. He should be here enjoying the sun. But instead, you know, this is the only thing I can do. I'd love to help people in his life, and I'm hoping that in his name, you know, we can save more lives.
A group determined to make change and support each other through the unimaginable pain of grief and loss.
And that was Abby Smitten reporting there. On to the Quickly.
He doesn't want.
You want some more?
No. Too creamy.
Too creamy. Why? Why do you have one today? Too creamy, why?
He's back living with his parents in Warwick.
You were saying too delicious.
I've actually had to rent 2 boxes. It's heartbreaking coming here because all this stuff should be at home.
In January, the 46-year-old from Hampton Magna was served with a Section 21 eviction notice on a house he was renting. And it's the second time he says he's been ordered to leave the property by a court order.
The communication was that in both occasions the landlord wants to sell. It's terrifying. You don't know what's going to happen. You suddenly have to go into panic stations mode because you're not only looking at trying to find somewhere else to live, but you're also trying to figure out the logistics of actually moving.
So, what exactly is a Section 21 or no-fault eviction? The landlord can evict a tenant without reason, though it must be at the end of a fixed-term tenancy. And more than 92,000 have received a Section 21
No, I'm
notice
getting old.
in 2019.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
Year, which is a 10 year-on-year increase. The Conservatives pledged to abolish or no.
I've got 4 more years to be
But the renters ran out of time as the general election was called. Louise Lawrence owns 18 properties across Birmingham and Staffordshire. She says she only uses no-fault evictions as a last resort when tenants damage their property and won't comply with their agreements.
The longer it takes for us to evict the tenants, the more damage that is being caused. We have a problem with the abolition of Section 21 as long as the court process generally was beefed up. Eviction of problematic tenants.
If the bill to abolish Section 21 doesn't go through, my recommendation would be to certainly extend the notice period. 2 months is just nowhere near enough to get everything in place.
Labour, the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats have all said they'd abolish these notices, but landlords and campaigners want more details. Just how far will reforms go? Ben Godfrey, BBC Midlands Today, Warwickshire.